Hey guys, welcome back to the Always in Season podcast, and we're back with video this week finally. We'll start first with the very interesting Thursday night football game.
Yeah, it was more of a defensive battle. Rams won 12-6. It was an important game for both teams, and Rams came out on top. Stafford went 16 for 27, 160 yards. Williams had 29 carries for 108 yards. Nakua 7 receptions, 97 yards, and Williams with an interception. And Cardi was 4 for 4 on field goals. Purdy, meanwhile, went 14 of 31, 142 yards, and an interception. Kittle had 4 receptions for 61 yards, and Moody was 2 for 2 on field goals. Should the NFC be scared of the Rams?
I think for sure. I mean, I'll get into one of my questions later that kind of goes along with it, but this Rams team, I mean, we saw they put up 40 points against the Bills last week. This was kind of a rainy, wet. It was a tough game to score in. But this is a they have a Super Bowl winning head coach and quarterback. They're very healthy, and when Cooper Cup and Puka are both going, um, this is a very dangerous team. And if they draft well next year, they can. I think for sure they're contenders even next year. But yeah, this is not a team that anybody wants to see in a in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Bengals beat the Titans 37-27. Burrow went 26 of 37, 271, three touchdowns and two picks. Levis went 8 of 12, 89 yards and three picks, and then he got benched for Mason Rudolph, who went 21 of 26, 209, two touchdowns and a pick. Is the Will Levis experiment finally over in Tennessee?
It's so hard to say because, this first year head coach, and it's not like they have this great team surrounding him, but also you haven't seen improvement from
Yeah.
him. It almost sometimes it seems like he's getting worse.
Uh-huh.
And I think for him, it's just like he's not playing smart. He's not making good decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's just kind of reckless out there. So like probably it's over, but also, are you really gonna get rid of him completely, or are you just saying he's the backup now? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
Like
yeah.
it's such a mess, but we'll find out more. You know, not necessarily in the last 3 weeks, but in the off
Right,
season.
right.
Chiefs Browns. Chiefs won 21-7. Mahomes was 19 of 38, 159 yards and two touchdowns. Worthy had a rushing touchdown, and Gray and Smith-Schuster each a receiving touchdown. McDuffie, Bolton, Cook, and Hicks each had an interception. Winston was 16 of 25, 146 yards, three interceptions. DTR also had an interception when he went in. Ford had 7 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. Judy 11 receptions for 108 yards. Mahomes got hurt in this game late in the
Mm-hmm.
game. Should the Chiefs sit Mahomes?
I mean, they have, I believe, what, 3 games in 11 days, so it's going to be tough. I think
Starting with this game.
starting with they plan this coming Saturday.
Well, I mean, starting with the Chiefs
Yeah,
Browns
yeah,
game.
yeah. So I think I think they sit him. I mean, this Texan team would be tough, but I would say you for sure sit him past Christmas. I don't think he should play in the Christmas game. I guess it all depends on the severity of the injury, but you need him in the playoffs more than you need him right now. Like obviously the one seed is important, and but you have that a little bit of a gap with Buffalo, not much, but you kind of don't expect Buffalo, especially with them playing the Patriots twice. They're not probably not going to lose a game the rest of the year, but they need to think of Mahomes more than that one seed. So I think unless he's like unless he's 100%, you should not play him. I think.
Yeah, they have a serviceable starter in
Right,
Carson
and
Wentz.
Carson Wentz, who has a lot of experience. Um, Ravens beat the Giants 35-14. Lamar went 21 of 25, 290 and five touchdowns. Tim Boyle went 12 of 24, 123, a touchdown and a pick. DeVito went 10 of 13 for 68 yards. Is this the year that Lamar finally has postseason success? As in
What?
like win like divisional, like at least maybe making the AFC Championship, winning a playoff game.
I don't think that's what's defining playoff success for him. I don't think winning a playoff
Like
game.
getting into the Super Bowl. So you think
I think he needs to get to the Super Bowl, and I don't think they're going to this year.
okay, fair enough.
But it's not because of Lamar. I
It's just
think their team.
the other teams that are in the AFC
Well,
that
that, but I think their team as a whole
like
is
yeah.
is not ready to make the Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
run. So I guess I would say Lamar maybe is ready, but the
But
team
team
as a
isn't.
whole isn't. Yeah. Dolphins Texans. Texans won 20-12. Tua went 29 of 40, 196 yards, a touchdown, and three interceptions. Smith had a touchdown. Stroud went 18 for 26, 131 yards, and two touchdowns. Nico Collins had the 2 receiving touchdowns, and Bullock with an interception. Do the Texans scare the AFC at all?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, they're good. They won their division, but I just think this is not the CJ Stroud from last year. They have film on him. He's definitely kind of, I'm gonna say sophomore slump, but he's not the same guy that we saw last year. And I just think with some of the other powerhouses in the AFC, I would put Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore all above them. I don't think that they are a threat. I mean, they'll have a home playoff game, which helps, but I was like, maybe they could win. Maybe they could win a playoff game, but again, it all depends who they end up playing.
Yeah, this team just doesn't have the same juice that they did
They
last
they
year.
battle
They
with
beat the
injuries
Dolphins.
too. It's tough. Um, Cowboys beat the Panthers 30-14. Cooper Rush went 18 of 29, 214 and 3 touchdowns. CD went 9 for 116 and a touchdown, and Bryce Young went 19 of 28, 219, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. What do you think that is the biggest hole on this Cowboys team as far as like on field like players go?
Mm.
Like, what do they need to like draft?
I think they're gonna need to draft corner, because they, I feel like they have injuries at corner every
Mm-hmm.
year, so they're gonna need more depth there, and then probably tight end as well. I like Ferguson, but he also can be inconsistent
And injured.
and injured. When he's healthy, he can be. Like, I mean, he can be one of the best tight ends, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think they need to add another tight end, especially with the way that their offense is at its best. They
Mm-hmm.
need to have another solid tight end. Jets Jaguars. This was an exciting game. Jets won 32-25. Rodgers was 16 of 30, 289 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brees had a rushing touchdown. Adams had 9 receptions, 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wilson also had a touchdown. Gardner and Mills each with an interception. Jones was 31 of 46, 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Thomas Jr. had a great game, 10 receptions, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Are the Jets now going to believe in Rodgers for next season after this game versus the Jags, and would that be a mistake?
I mean, if you look at his past 7 games, I believe he's done well. I think he has 13 touchdowns and a pick, 260 a game. I mean, I do think that they stick with him. I don't. It's very hard to say if that's a mistake because I don't think there's anything that you can do to this team, Rodgers or not, to make them legitimate contenders in a year. There's so many problems. But I do think they bring Rodgers back. Because he has been playing well as of recent. As far as Devontae and some of the other pieces go, I don't know. Like Lazard was hurt, and the defense is like questionable, especially with Salah gone. It's like, yeah, you can bring him back. I don't know if it would be a mistake because there's just too many other problems that whether you bring him back or not, they're just not going to be anywhere close where they want to be. Um, the Broncos beat the Colts 31-13. This was a big game for the Colts, and Bo Nix played bad, and they still won. Nix went 20 of 33, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Richardson went 17 of 38, 170, and 2 picks. Jonathan Taylor, they could have went up 20-7, and then Jonathan Taylor dropped the ball going into the end zone, like we've seen so many times. But how can AR take that leap? Because he just has not been able to. He's been deferring to the run more and just overthrowing guys, missing easy throws. How can he take that leap to be a solid starter?
Um, I think kind of like with Will Levis, like just being a little smarter with the decision making. You don't need to have a home run play every play,
Mm,
like it's like whenever you pass, you don't. It doesn't need to be this rocket
right.
throw, and
That's
you
his
don't need to go like
throw it
throw a
100.
60
Yeah.
yard bomb.
Yeah.
And I think I think this offseason he should work on feeling more comfortable throwing from the pocket as opposed to always needing to roll out,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like his running is great, but if you're always using that, then the defense is going to know what's
Yeah.
coming. So he has a high ceiling,
Yes.
but also he is mistake prone. And
Yeah.
so, but I think if they get the coaches to really focus on him, he can be a really good quarterback in the league. Buccaneers Chargers, and this is another game. We're just proving me
It's
right that
just
I should. There's a reason I don't believe in the Chargers, and here's another reason. Bucks won 40-17. The Bucks put
Jeez.
up 40 points on the best defense in the league statistically until now.
Yeah.
Mayfield's 22 of 27. He had 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Irving with 15 carries, 117 yards. Evans, future Hall of Famer, 9 receptions,
Yes. First
159
ballot.
yards, 2 touchdowns. McMillan and White each had a touchdown, and Dean with a pick. Herbert went 21 of 33, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. McConkey had 5 receptions for 58 yards and a touchdown. Johnston with a touchdown and still with the interception. Could the Bucks go on a Super Bowl run if they stay healthy? Because they're scary.
Yeah, they're so dangerous that I mean you can't run the football against them with Vita Vea there. Like Mike Evans, like you said, first ballot Hall of Famer. He's somehow he's on pace to get 1,000 yards even with being hurt. Baker is just a stud. We've known this for a while. This is again. There's no like seeding wise. There's not really a team that you want to face. Like if you have a top four seed, there's no team that you want to face. I think like the NFC South, that division winner is probably the weakest, but still, it's like uh, it's tough. I mean, this all the playoff the 5 through 7 seeds are very dangerous, and with the injuries that the Lions have, if this, I mean, the Lions aren't healthy by any means, and if they run into one of these hot teams like Green Bay, the Rams, or the Bucks, like it could be bad for them. There's so many contenders that could shock some of these top teams in the NFC, and Tampa's one of them.
Yeah.
Speaking of NFC, top of NFC, the Bills beat the Lions 48-42. Allen went 23 of 34, 362, and two passing touchdowns. Goff went 38 of 59, 494, and 5 touchdowns. St. Brown went 14 for 193 and a touchdown. I'm going to ask a question for both of these teams because I think they both need a question. Does Allen have MVP locked up? Did he lock
Yeah.
it up on Sunday? And with the Lions, how do they overcome all of these injuries? Is there, at what point do you just kind of like, there's nothing more you can do?
Yeah. Well, for the Allen MVP, I think he's locked up a secure lead, but I
Yeah.
can't say that he's locked up the MVP because there's still 3
There's,
weeks left
yeah,
in the
that's fair.
season. But I think he has a significant lead where it'd be hard for somebody else to come and win it.
Unless he would
Um,
be like 4 turnovers in these next couple games.
yeah, and
That's
whoever else has to go on a
right.
heater. Um, but for the Lions, I mean, we always say like it is next man up. Injuries are part of the game. They
Yes.
really are. They have had a lot. We have
Yeah.
there's a few teams in the league where it's like wow they are just having the injury bug this year. Lions really didn't get hit with it until the second half of the season. And now it's just like everyone's dropping like flies. I think um I think you have to coach smart.
Yeah.
Because
Which is struggle at times.
yeah, because I you saw them onside kick at with 11:55 left in the fourth, down by 10.
Yeah.
And Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football, I think he said it best that was the biggest compliment to give Josh Allen
Yep.
because it's saying it's a less than 7% chance to convert an onside kick, but we believe it's a 0% chance to stop
Yeah.
you. Like
I mean,
that's
it was
kind
the
of
whole game basically.
it really was, and I just think when you have a lot of your backups in, you don't have all your starters healthy out there. I think you have to be coaching smarter. I'm not saying you can never be aggressive, but you have to make sure you're putting these guys in the best position to succeed. And I don't think they necessarily were doing that. And the best coaches know how to adapt to the strengths of their players, and they are trying to plug in guys to the same system that they do with their starters, and you're going to have to make tweaks. You're
Yeah.
going to have to coach differently. You're going to have to use different schemes. Some defensive packages that you use with your starters, they're not going to be your favorite ones anymore with the players you have now. But you also have to believe in the players you have. They're still NFL players. They're still on your roster. You're paying them. You have to believe in them that they can go out and perform well. So I think the Lions are kind of in the back of their heads using it as an excuse of like, okay, we had the injuries, so if we don't win, that's why.
Yeah.
But this is on the coaching staff. They have to get get in their playbooks, on offense and defense, and say, all right, how can we use the guys that we do have? Don't stop mourning over all the injuries. Let's look at what we've got
Mm.
and go win.
I think part of it too is that like all these injuries were on the defensive side of the football, and then you see Montgomery get hurt and possibly done for the year, and now it's like you can. At first, you were like, "Oh, our offense is fine. We can go score 40 on a team." You did that on Sunday, and you didn't win. Like Goff threw 5 touchdowns, 500 yards. You didn't win. So I don't know. Like I mean, like you said, I just think it's being smart, which Campbell has made decisions based on emotion way too many times, and it's going to cost him in the playoffs if he doesn't fix it.
Yeah.
So
Patriots Cardinals. We talked about this game that the Cardinals had to win this. They can't. The
yeah,
Patriots aren't a team to mess with. They got dicey there in third, but the Cardinals did handle business. They won 30-17. May was 19 of 23, 202 yards, a touchdown pass, and a rushing touchdown, as well as an interception. Douglas had a receiving touchdown. Kyler Murray was 23 of 30, 224 yards. Connor, 16 carries, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns, bunting with an interception. Call it now. Cardinals in or out. Panthers, Rams, Niners are the next 3 games.
Panthers, Rams, and Niners.
And right now, they have a 13% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. The way too inconsistent. I think they're out. That Rams is a loss, and I could easily see them. I could see them losing next week or this week with the Panthers. Yeah, I don't know, too inconsistent. Kyler and Marvin Harrison just haven't had that chemistry yet. They gotta hit on some draft picks, and yeah, I just too inconsistent for me. Again, the Patriots, they've shown they can play and surprise some teams, and this was an important one for them, but I don't think that there's anything they can do to make the playoffs. It's just at this point, yeah, I think they're out. Sunday Night Football, Packers beat the Seahawks 30-13. They scored 2 touchdowns right away, and in Seattle, punched them in the mouth right away, and um, was kind of I won't say over from there, but Seattle didn't really have that much of an answer. Love went 20 of 27, 229, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers again. Jacobs had 30 touches for 136 and a touchdown. Dobbs had 3 catches for 40 yards and 2 phenomenal touchdowns. Do you think the Packers are the most dangerous wildcard team, assuming they don't win their division?
Mm, no,
No.
I think the.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's hard to say because we don't know who all the wild card teams are going to be. Um,
say as of
if
right now.
if
Yeah,
if we say the wild card teams are the Vikings,
Vikings
Packers,
and
who are you saying the
Rams.
You don't think the Rams are going to win their division?
Oh, sorry, not the Rams. Commanders.
Commanders. Okay. I think you still have to say the Vikings are the scariest one because the Vikings have beaten the Packers,
Yeah.
and the Vikings are playing most consistently of those 3 teams. Um,
Then Detroit could fall there very easily.
but Detroit could fall there. They'd still be scary, even with the injuries. They're
Yeah.
still scary. If yeah, I mean, I think the Packers are scary, and I think they're getting scarier, and they're getting healthier, so they have that going for them. But I think right now, as we speak, no, they're not the scariest. By the end of the season, I could see them being the scariest, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. But right now, I don't think you can disrespect the Vikings like that. Steelers Eagles was 325 game. 27-13 Eagles. It was a really big win for the Eagles. Wilson was 14 of 22, 128 yards on a touchdown. Fryermuth also had a touchdown. Hurts was 25 of 32, 290 yards, 2 touchdown passes and 1 rushing. Brown was 8 receptions for 110 yards. They were wanting to feed him, and they did. 1 touchdown. Smith also had a touchdown. Are the Eagles the best in the NFC? The Lions lost, and the Eagles won a tough game without Saquon popping off.
Yeah, for sure. I think they proved it yesterday. I mean, this was a Pittsburgh team that has been playing pretty well. Again, they didn't have Pickens, so that makes a difference. But they've shown that even with Saquon not playing, Jalen Hurts can be a pretty good throwing quarterback. Um, yeah, I think if it would not shock me if Philly ended up with the 1 seed, and you have to go through Philly because this is a very good offense in all 3 facets of the game. They're very good. I know I've criticized Sirianni multiple times, but when you win 10 games in a row, there's no criticism there. But yeah, by far, I wouldn't say by far, but yeah, they're comfortably the biggest threat in the NFC, and I believe probably are the odds-on favorite to be in the Super Bowl. I'm February. One of the Monday night games, the Falcons beat the Raiders 15-9. Cousins went 11 of 17, 112 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Robinson had 22 for 135, and Desmond Ritter went 23 of 39, 208, a touchdown and a pick. If the Falcons miss the playoffs, do they take a look at their QB situation next year?
Yeah, they take a look at it. Now I would say that it's normal to pin all offensive problems on Kirk or
Yeah,
on the
on the
quarterback in
quarterback.
general, but you can't. And if you watched last night, if you watched these last 5 weeks, you cannot pin it all on the quarterback. I think a lot of it is the play calling. Now I don't know. Kirk's post game interview just on the field was fantastic. He was not happy about the win. I mean, he was
Yeah,
happy about the win. He was
right.
not happy
Yeah.
about how he performed. He was not happy about. I think he wasn't happy about the team's performance overall, but specifically his. Raheem Morris was saying that the quarterback has to play better. When he was asked about it, he said, "Yeah, we have to look at the quarterback. He
Mm,
has to play better. We have to see how we can get Kirk to play better again." Um, Early in the season, Kirk was doing really really well, and this offense was impressive. Um, I think that you have to see how these last 3 weeks go.
mm-hmm.
Make or miss the playoffs, you're gonna look at the quarterback situation. You have Penix there waiting, and Kirk is older. I mean,
Yeah.
um, and forget the money. You can't think about the money. You've seen the Browns. They did that with Deshaun. They're like, okay, we paid him, so we're gonna stick with him. Is that the best decision? I don't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't have. I think the injuries have really really affected him, and sitting out for that whole season that he did, season and a half. It's like that's a long time to be away from the
Yeah.
game. So I think it's possible that Kirk's just not quite the same guy because coming back from the injury
Yeah.
and he's older. So you paid him, but you still have to
Mm-hmm.
don't turn if you're saying that paying him was a bad decision, don't turn one bad decision into another bad
Right.
decision by staying with him, even if he's not your best option. But I still believe in Kirk. I still believe he can get better. I still believe he can get back to that product. But whether they make the playoffs or not, they have to look at the situation. But you want to see improvement in these next 3 games. Um, Next, the last game of the week was Bears Vikings. 30-12. Vikings won. Williams was 18 of 31, 191 yards, and a touchdown. Swift had 19 carries for 79 yards. Allen had 6 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown. Stevenson with an interception. Darnold went 24 of 40, 231 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Jones had 18 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. Akers also had a rushing touchdown, and Jefferson had 7 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown. Should the Vikings be the favorite in the NFC North?
Yeah, in the North, yeah, because they've had the tiebreaker over the Packers, or yeah, they beat the Packers. They have to play once more. But the Lions just aren't healthy, and I mean, it's going to come down to like the division could be decided in Week 18. For that game, that's where it looks like it's headed. Um, but yeah, I think they're healthy, a lot healthier than the Lions, and they've just continued to find ways to win. And again, the Bears are a dumpster fire, but it took care of business at home on Monday last night. So I think for sure they're the favorites in the NFC North, because just all the problems the Lions have. So.
Yeah. Who got your game balls this week?
Offensively, I give it to Jalen Hurts, 25 of 32, 290, two passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. And defensively, I gave it to Edgerrin Cooper. He was out past 3 weeks for the Packers, and had a huge game. 5 tackles to sack, two pass breakups, and a game-sealing interception.
Yeah, for offense, I had to give it to Josh Allen again. 362 yards, two passing touchdowns, two rushing touchdowns, and it was in Detroit, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
impressive. For defense, Edgerrin Cooper was one of my options, but since you went with him, I'm going to give love again to Nick Benito. He had 5 tackles, half sack, and a pick six. He's been great on this Broncos defense, and he's been fun to watch.
yeah.
He really has. Coach of the week, who do you got?
I get to the floor because playing in Seattle is a tough place to play, and those first 2 drives that they had, it was you ran the ball with Jacobs, forced a 3-and-out, it shortened another touchdown, and yeah, there was some decision making that clock management at the end of the first half was not great, and he admitted that. But I mean, Seattle's a tough place to play in. This the Seahawks had won 4 straight, and you comfortably won that game.
I'm giving it to Todd Bowles going in there
Yeah,
and dropping 40 on the Buccaneers or on the Chargers, um, and your defense also played well,
yeah.
holding the Chargers to 17. That's an impressive game right there. Fantasy personal best for me. Mike Evans dropped 36.9, Connor at 30.8, and McLaughlin at 18.
Bottom three.
Bottom three, Metcalf at 5.8, Commanders defense at 7, and Hubbard at 8.9.
My top three: Lamar 36.1, Kansas City's defense at 22, and Eagles at 19.8. Cobb had 0. Thanks for that. Ferguson at 4.3, and Koo had 8. So I did not win my playoff game.
The overall best, Allen at 41.28, Connor at 30.8, Gibbs 28.4, St. Brown 37.3, Evans 36.9, Thomas Jr. 32.5, John Smith 19.8, Chiefs defense at 22, McLaughlin with 18. Overall worst, Will Levis negative 4.44,
Nice.
Chubb 2.1 because he played most of the game before going out with the injury, Edwards 2.3, Cup 0. McLeod 2.4, Komet 2.4, Lions defense negative 12.
Really?
Really?
Well, no, I didn't think it was that. I knew it'd be negative 12. I didn't think it was gonna be
Yeah.
that low.
Yeah, and Hopkins with 0. Yeah, so weekly news.
Yeah.
Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, he did get hurt. He was diagnosed with a mild high ankle sprain. In following tests, he's still considered week to week. The test did confirm the initial thoughts. We're still not sure if they're going to sit him. They have the Texans this Saturday, and then they right away have to play on Christmas again against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
So those are 2 AFC games. That Steelers one is really, really important. The Texans one, it's not like it's not important, but like
it's important. It's I mean all these I mean
So
for the 1 seed, it's like I would say you need the 1 seed, but going if you
they have a good buffer.
they have
Though.
yes they do.
So, but I think you have to prioritize his health.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. Chiefs released former first-round running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He announced, and he was not bitter about it at all. I mean, he was all love for the Chiefs, and yeah. Crazy though, because like when you first saw him, it was like, oh, he's the new Chiefs, like great running back. So, Cowboys cornerback Trevon Diggs, he's going to undergo knee surgery, and he could be out up to 8 months. Big blow. See him get injured. Like I said, Cowboys need to add depth.
Yeah, if he gets injured, but past couple of years he's been injured. So
yeah, tough blow. Lions running back David Montgomery suffered a torn MCL. He could be out for the rest of the season. That's what he's out indefinitely right now. Many believe in the building that he's out for the season.
Yeah, and like we talked about, big blow to their offense. I mean, they have the best two-back running back system in football, and now you don't. You got to rely solely on Gibbs.
Yeah. Who's a great running back?
Yeah, he is. But again, having that, like they said, Sonic Knuckles, like Gibbs is just. I swear he's the fastest player in the league. His acceleration he's fun to watch. But now with no Montgomery, it's like he's gonna have more of the load to carry. So it'll be interesting to see how they adjust.
And Lions defensive lineman Ali McNeil, he's out for the season with a torn ACL. So that Niners-Rams game, the big story coming out of it wasn't about the game itself necessarily. 49ers linebacker Devondre Campbell, he is being suspended 3 games, ending his season after he refused to go into the game on Thursday night. Kyle Shanahan said his actions from the game is just not something you can do to your team. It was like in the third quarter that he literally just walked off the field. Travarius Ward said, yeah, he's probably going to get cut. Like, right after the game, he said that. George Kittle said, I've never been around that. I don't ever want to be around that again. It's not fair to your team, you know. And this Niners team, they had their backs up against the wall. Like, you need this win. Dre Greenlaw had just come back, taking that starting job. And they all knew that going into this week. So it was very strange that instead of just sitting out in practice or, you know, like taking that kind of route, even though it'd still be completely immature, or saying, like, yeah, I'm not going to play this game because you're, you know, being a baby about it. He's doing it in the middle of the game. But just very, very strange. Dre Greenlaw, by the way, had a fantastic game in his return.
Pro Bowler, I mean.
But yeah, it was completely disappointing. Devondre Campbell's actions. He had a negative exit with the Packers.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I lost my love for the game, but now I have it back being with the Niners. And clearly there's something going on there. I want to hear from him, but also I think Chris Long on his podcast made a really good point that if there was something else going on that's personal where it's like we need to hear from Campbell to see if we should be
Yeah.
reacting a little bit more sensitively. He was like, if there was something going on, Travarius Ward, George Kittle, they wouldn't have come out and just blasted their
Yeah.
teammate in their interviews right after the game. They
Nick
they
Nick
they'll
Bosa did too.
they'll know if there's something going
Yeah.
on. But so that's just a strange situation. Good for the Niners because they said they wanted to make sure that he was suspended for the rest of the season so that he did get going to another team as a reward for his
Yeah,
actions.
and apparently the report did come out that John Lynch, who was up in a suite, came down, and apparently John Lynch is a very calm, nice guy. But if you get on his bad side, it's not good, and that is exactly what happened, and that's why Campbell, because John Lynch told him to leave.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a horrible situation and really disappointing. Like you said, Packer fans know how he left Green Bay. He had one really good year, and then kind of, I mean, found his way out of the rotation in the starting spot, and then I mean, he was a fill-in for Dre Greenlaw, who unfortunately got hurt in the Super Bowl last year, and you knew that Dre Greenlaw was going to. He's a better linebacker than Devontae Campbell, and instead of being a team player, he just kind of pouted and whined, and I don't know how he gets a job back somewhere because that's those actions are just not a team, not anybody that any team wants to deal with at all. So we'll see what happens.
Browns running back Nick Chubb, he exited the game. It is a broken foot for
Yeah,
him. That man just had the injury bug these last couple seasons, which is really too bad. We never saw him come fully back, like
yeah,
to himself this year already, and then having another injury, that's just tough. Um, Max Crosby made it official. His season is over. Foot ankle injury, and that's a tough blow. I mean, the Raiders' season was already done in the sense that they're not in any
yeah.
playoff race or anything, but he's a great player, so hopefully he can come back
Hmm.
fully healthy. Um, Randy Moss, former NFL player, one of the greats. A few weeks ago, he had been on ESPN, and fans were wondering if there was something wrong with his eyes. And then he addressed it that there is something going on. He then wore these special glasses the next week on TV and just said, like, pray for him and his family, that they're dealing with something. And then the next week, he announced that he's taking an extended period away from ESPN to deal with whatever is going on. And then it was announced that he does have liver cancer. That's a that's a really
Yeah.
really dangerous cancer. It's one of the fastest spreading ones. And yeah, so he's going through all the treatment right now. So prayers up to him. The Vikings did some great tributes for him
Yeah.
yesterday.
Hmm.
Jefferson yelled, "We love you, Randy." He also talked about him post game and just the impact he's had on him and also just the world in general, especially the NFL world. And Chris Carter, they were, he was carrying his jersey out pregame. So, but yeah, so prayers up to Randy Moss. Meanwhile, Doug Peterson said that tight end Evan Ingram torn labrum is out for the rest of the season. Texans safety Jalen Petrie is done for the 2024 season with a pectoral injury and will require surgery. We've seen in a few weeks now in a row, these last few weeks, in multiple different games, uh, a player, a quarterback, getting hit in the face mask and it not being called.
Yeah.
And so NFL executive Troy Vincent said a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, oh my word, that face mask penalties are among plays that could be under consideration for replay assist in the future because some of these face masks have been like pretty blatant.
Yeah.
We saw one on Sam Darnold last night, and we
Hmm.
had seen one on him a few weeks ago. That was very blatant in the end zone that wasn't called. We saw one on Jordan Love against the Lions.
Yeah.
We saw one on Joe Burrow just on Sunday. We've seen them around the league. I think we saw one on Patrick Mahomes against the Browns. So like we're seeing all of these happen, and I think this is a good one to be under consideration for replay assist because it's not one of these like ticky tack penalties where you can go either way. Usually the face mask is blatant. Like either
Yeah.
either they hit it
And,
or
yeah,
they did.
and it's a big deal too. It's an impactful play
Exactly.
the majority of the time.
Exactly. So I hope they go in that direction.
Yeah.
Usually I'm more of like the chill,
It's
let's
football.
play football. But with this one, I do think that's an important one. I don't think there's anything wrong with it being replay assist. I think that's the way to go about it. Also, the NFL announced a 13-year extension with Nike to continue as their official uniform partner. And speaking of the uniforms, for these Christmas games that are coming up, they are going to wear, each team playing on Christmas is wearing a patch that has the NFL and then has like two candy canes coming out of it. So I think that's cool.
Little
Some
different. Yeah.
festive holiday cheer.
It'll be on Netflix for anybody wondering on
Yeah,
Christmas. So.
yeah. Also, Dolphins wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is officially now a free agent after clearing waivers. I don't know if someone will try to pick him up when these playoff teams going on a run, but and then Aiden Hutchinson announced today that he is on track to be back for the Super Bowl if the Lions make it, which would be a huge help for the Lions defense. But we'll see if they even get there. But hats off to Aiden Hutchinson for
insane rehab.
yeah, absolutely, he's a monster. We can just jump right into the Week 16 preview.
Starting with Thursday night, Broncos Chargers. This is an interesting one. Broncos coming off a tough win, and Chargers coming off a bad loss. I actually have the Broncos winning 24-20. I don't know. They're playing really good. Chargers, I don't know. Like, they're a playoff team, but like you said, yeah, it's just, it's the first year of Harbaugh. It's kind of like, I don't know. They're a solid team. They're better than last year for sure, but that's not saying much. But yeah, I do think the Broncos win this one on Thursday night.
Yeah, we got the Texans Chiefs as well coming up. Again, we're not sure about Mahomes, but the Texans aren't scary.
I actually have the Chiefs winning this one, 24-18. I don't know.
No matter the quarterback?
No matter the quarterback, because it's like the Chiefs defense is playing very well.
Yeah.
The Texans, they're just not as scary as last year. Like, they won the division, but the division is not good. But yeah, the Chiefs just, I don't know, they find a way to win, and I think even with, it's not like Carson Wentz is like a second year player. Like, he's won a Super Bowl. Like, he's been around for a while, so I think they can get him up to speed pretty quick, and
He's won a Super Bowl?
he's been on the team.
Just saying.
He has a ring.
He had a great run that
ring.
year.
Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, Steelers Ravens. That's a really good game.
This one will be fun.
This is an important game for
Both
them.
teams.
I mean, because the Ravens, I think, are exactly a game behind them. So that's huge.
Yeah, I got the Ravens 28-20. I don't know. This is a big because the Steelers. I don't know. Like, losing back-to-back games at this point would be kind of tough for them. I mean, we'll see what happens with Pickens. It sounds like T.J. Watt's okay, and he can play. It was a non-contact injury, and you can saw Lane Johnson right away was concerned. You know, you'd never want to see that with arguably the best defensive player in football. But again, hopefully Pickens can play and T.J. Watt can play, and this can be a healthy game for both teams. But both teams desperately need this win.
Yeah. Giants Falcons. I think this really needs to be a get right game for the Falcons. Like, let's see you guys go below.
They need to put I have them winning by a touchdown, but yeah, I think like you said, they need to have Kirk needs like a 300-yard 3-touchdown kind of game. It's the Giants, so this is a very good opportunity for them.
Or even if they run the ball over and Kirk just has 189 yards, but
play smart,
takes care of the ball,
yeah,
that kind of thing. Like they just need to look powerful on offense.
Yeah.
Lions Bears division game. The Bears look worse.
Yeah.
The Lions are unhealthy.
One of my bold predictions is that the Bears somehow win this game. I know it's like, I don't know, after last night it's I don't know.
Bears offense has gotten worse.
Yeah, I don't like either of these teams, like, personally, but I don't know. I think it'll be closer than I don't know it should be, because the Lions, they're.
Do you think the Lions' offense is better than the Vikings' offense?
Yeah.
And the Bears were able to stop the Vikings' offense in the first half, but the Bears' offense couldn't do anything.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, bold prediction for a reason. I mean,
yeah. Okay. I would call it a drunk prediction,
okay.
But Cardinals Panthers. This is a very fascinating game because the Cardinals need to win every game, and they're also going to need other help. But the Panthers, they did lose this week. They didn't look very great against the Cowboys, but they're still a formidable team. It'll be interesting if they end up knocking the Cardinals' chances completely off.
And I think the Panthers win. I have them winning on a game-winning field goal, 20-17. Just like I told you, the Cardinals have been so inconsistent,
wow.
And the Panthers have looked pretty solid. I mean, this would be a heartbreaker for the Cardinals and effectively end their playoff dreams right then and there.
Yeah. Rams Jets. The Rams gotta win this game. They want to keep that lead get
Yeah,
win the division. The Jets' offense looked better. Defense didn't necessarily.
yeah, and
But
I'm
they have energy.
I don't
So
know why I'm going back and forth because it's like the Jets defense is just like they're gonna collapse.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's gonna come down to can the Jets offense continue to look good? Because there was a throwback, essentially a throwback game for Rodgers and Devontae. I don't think it can happen again, but we'll see. I mean, Rodgers has been playing better as of late, but the Rams are rolling right now, so we'll see.
Eagles Commanders is a really big one because it's a division game and the Eagles won against the Commanders last time around and they won convincingly, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
or in a way that it wasn't like worrisome for the Eagles. You knew that the Eagles were the big brother
Uh-huh.
here. Let's see now. Week 16. Are the Commanders getting better? Or can they? I mean, the Eagles are looking great. Can the Commanders somehow beat them? Make it a competition.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really big game for the Commanders. I think.
I have the Eagles winning 30-20. Just I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
Commanders. They're it's a very been a very fun year for them
Yeah,
with Jane Daniels. Like
and if you're making the playoffs, that's a successful
yeah,
first season.
great first season.
National
Do I think they
champion.
can win a playoff game? I don't think so, but
Yeah.
you never know. But yeah, I don't think this is. I don't think they win. The Eagles are just too good right now.
Browns Bengals. The Bengals technically are not
Yeah,
eliminated from the playoffs, but they have a less than 1% chance to make the
yeah. I
playoffs.
have them. I have the Bengals winning, but like you said, it's kind of like at probably assuming this week they'll probably get eliminated officially, even if they'll win. And I don't know what that means for Zach Taylor, but that defense needs to figure it out.
Titans Colts. Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, or will it maybe not be Will
I don't
Levis
know
because
if
we
it's
have
gonna be Will
bench? So we'll
Levis.
see. It might be Mason Rudolph and Anthony Richardson, but
I don't. I think.
division game.
Yeah, I think the Colts win. I mean, the Colts are not eliminated, but it's not looking great. I think they win though. They really needed to take a look at Richardson this year, not evaluate him, but coach him up better and put him in a better position to succeed. You had so many ups and downs because you benched him and then you brought him back. It was kind of like I don't know. It's wasn't the great year, best year for them, but again, he's still very, very young and has a high ceiling, and you need to let him know that you support him and that he's their guy, and you can't just have these back and forth.
Yeah. Vikings Seahawks. Now Gino had gone out in the game against the Packers, and Mike McDonald was saying that Gino's the toughest guy he's ever been around, and the fact that it kept him out, it was serious enough to keep him out. But it didn't look like there was any structural damage. We'll see if he can play against the Vikings. The Seahawks were on a heater. The Packers went in there and took care of business. But the Seahawks are still trying to fight for that playoffs. They're one spot removed from a playoff
Mm-hmm.
picture, so they really need this game. But obviously, the Vikings are one of the best teams in the league.
I do have the Vikings winning
Mm-hmm.
27-20, but that Seahawks defense, even though they didn't look good, they're not a bad defense. But I think when they give up more than 21 points, they haven't won yet.
Also, their offensive line,
Is
they had been playing really well, and they played really poorly against the
yeah,
Packers, and
seven was
so
it seven sacks or something like that.
they need to get back on track.
Yeah, but again, we'll see what happens with Gino. His injury was it was a weird injury because you thought his ankle got rolled up on, and then it was I believe it was his knee that they said. So it's like McDonald said that they avoided catastrophe. I don't know what that means,
Yeah.
but Sam Howell didn't look great, and I no disrespect to Sam Howell, but if he's starting, I don't see a way they win this
No.
game.
We'll also see if Kenneth Walker is back.
Yeah,
Patriots Bills division game. The Bills have been fantastic on offense.
yeah,
Their defense still scares me though. Like, cause
yeah.
if your defense is allowing 40+ points in back-to-back games, that's not good. The Patriots have not been putting up that many points, but they've been exciting to watch on like both sides of the
Mm-hmm.
ball. I'm excited to see where they go after this season, but the Bills should win this game
Yeah,
still.
I don't know what the spread is. I think it's like 13 and a half. I think the Bills go for the spread. I have them 38-17. It could get ugly fast, but um yeah, like you said, the Bills that Josh Allen's fine. Like the offense is fine. It's not by you need to you need to not need Josh Allen to score 6 touchdowns a game and win a football game. You don't need them to score 40 points and win by 2 or 3. Like you need to be like, all right, Josh, give us 20, 30 points and we'll be good. You can't, all right, Josh, we need 40. Like, that's not sustainable. But
And you definitely can't have that happen against the Patriots.
against
Like,
Patriots, like,
then you're
yeah,
really having struggles
yeah.
on defense. Jaguars Raiders. We don't even know what quarterback the Raiders are gonna have
They
because
might sign
it's
someone.
different every week. I mean, heck, they might trade for OBJ or pick up OBJ off waivers and have him be quarterback for all I know.
It's
Um, but it's been a mess.
for both
But
teams. Yeah.
yeah, we'll see what happens, and I think
I think the Raiders win.
you do.
I don't know. I think they win, but I don't know.
Really?
It's like Jaguars don't look good either.
I put my money on the Jags.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not that I'm gonna put money on this.
Yeah, because that's the last game you put money on.
Probably. 49ers Dolphins. Two teams that are just they were right there, but it's looking really hopeless.
Yeah.
But I think I have a bold prediction in this game.
I have the Niners winning by a field goal, but I don't know. It's like it's kind of like it's like with Mike McDaniel. It's like kind of getting to this point. It's like, do you keep him? Do you move on from him? Because yeah, he's a fun coach, but is he a good coach? You know,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Buccaneers Cowboys. This is really funny because like the Buccaneers have been great. Baker Mayfield's been just so fantastic. But the Cowboys are winning. You know, like
Yeah.
they're showing fight, and it's just really what if the Cowboys win? What if the Falcons beat the Giants? The Buccaneers end up losing. Now we're looking at a tight race for the NFC South again, and then we're like, okay, what are the Cowboys gonna do? They're gonna be this mid team. They're probably not gonna make the playoffs. They're very likely not gonna make the playoffs. But then they have a mid draft pick, and then what do you do with McCarthy?
Yeah,
What do you do with everyone? Like, are you
I,
winning more games with
I
Cooper
don't.
Rush than Dak, who you just paid?
I don't think the Cowboys win this game.
No, I don't think so.
But
There's some fun
very
headlines.
intriguing what could happen. It's very much like
It won't necessarily be a blowout.
no.
It might be the 27.
But it was like last year when the Cowboys lost in the playoffs. It's like, with the Packers, it's like they probably win this game, but if they don't, what do those headlines look like the next day? And we saw what those headlines did look like. But it's kind of like if they win this game, it's like I wouldn't say McCarthy's back for sure. It's a good chance if they somehow beat Tampa, but because it's Jerry, you never know it's Jerry.
But then who would their starter quarterback be if they're winning more games with Cooper Rush?
I don't know.
Saints Packers Monday Night Football in Lambeau Field.
Packers can clinch with a win, I believe.
Yeah, they should be able to. And the Saints have been showing fight, but we don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I was really disappointed when they weren't starting Spencer Rattler. And then they ended up benching Jake and putting Rattler in, and he made it so close against the Commanders.
Yeah.
They lost because they ended up going for 2 and they didn't quite convert, but Spencer is fun to watch. So the Packers got to look out.
Yeah.
The Packers have to put their foot on the gas and not let go. They can't take this team lightly.
I mean, playing in Lambeau though, it's always a tough Monday night prime time at Lambeau.
Cold. It might be snowy.
Packers are playing really good. Love's healthy, moving around
We'll
the best that we've seen Love move around all season. This past week, so this is like this. The Packers can't mess around, and the Saints. I would go on to say that your season's over. So just see what you have in Spencer, and then evaluate situations.
Yeah. Game most looking forward to. I have 2. I would say the Eagles Commanders game is fascinating, and then the Steelers Ravens.
Yeah, Steelers Ravens. Eagles Commanders maybe it could be, but yeah, mostly it's for me it's Ravens Steelers.
My bold predictions. For the Rams Jets game, Puka Nacua has a 3 touchdown game. For the 49ers Dolphins game, the 49ers defense forces 3 turnovers. And then for that Monday night game, Jordan Love has 4 touchdowns to 4 different players.
Okay. Mine was I guess I had Panthers winning, Bears winning, and then I had Josh Allen again has 2 passing and 2 rushing.
Okay.
I don't know how bold that is because he's done it.
He keeps doing it, yeah.
Keeps doing it.
But
It seems, but
it's not bold for him, but it's bold for a pig in general, you know? Well, right now, as the standings are, it's Chiefs at 13-1, Bills at 11-3, Steelers 10-4, Texans 9-5. Those are your top 4 seeds. Then Ravens the 5th seed at 9-5, Broncos 9-5 at 6th seed, and the 7th seed is Chargers 8-6. Colts, Dolphins, Bengals are on the outside looking in. Colts have a 10% chance of making the playoffs. Dolphins 7 and Bengals 5. all their AFC teams are eliminated. As for the NFC, the Lions are 12-2, the 1 seed. Eagles are 12-2 as the 2 seed. The Vikings are 12-2, but they're the 5 seed. The 3 seed is the Buccaneers at 8-6. The 4 seed is the Rams at 8-6. The 6 seed then is the Packers at 10-4, and the 7 seed the Commanders at 9-5. Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals, Niners, Cowboys, and Saints are all still fighting for the playoffs. Seahawks have a 36% chance of making it, as well as the Falcons. Then we drop all the way down to 13% with the
Hmm.
Cardinals, and then the Niners, Cowboys, Saints all have less than 1% chance. Everyone else in the NFC is eliminated.
Yeah.
3 weeks left. It's looking really fun.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of a couple weeks ago were like with the NFC, it's like 10 wins might get you in, 9 wins probably doesn't at this point.
It's
9 wins,
crazy.
9 wins won't. So it's like you need 11, 12 wins to
Yeah.
be in the playoffs, which is, I mean, kind of what you want. You obviously don't want like 500 teams being in there because
Yeah.
that, it's just shows how strong the NFC is, and then
And the
obviously
AFC
those
seeing
top,
what
yeah.
the seeding is going to be.
The same with the NFC. The
happening.
NFC, it's like Detroit. If they kind of stumble here, they could fall they could fall back down to the 5 seed.
But then also, what happens? Like, what if the Packers beat the Vikings? So then the Vikings Lions, like the Lions, end up winning.
Yeah,
the division.
it's a division game, so it'll be
Huge.
yeah. I mean, there is a very good chance that the Vikings Lions Week 18 could be for the division, or it could just not be.
I mean the Vikings have a gauntlet. They have the Seahawks and they have the Packers and the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, the AFC, like, you're looking, like, the Ravens Steelers this week. We have the Chiefs Steelers the following week. The Bills are obviously on a heater at 11-3. They could keep fighting, maybe get a 1 seed. The Chiefs fall, especially with Mahomes' injury.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
there's
if
so
these
much
if
to
these
look at.
Chiefs lose these next two, if they lose this Saturday and then Christmas,
Yeah.
Buffalo has a cake. I would say cakewalk. They have a cakewalk
They
for the
have
1
an
seed
easier schedule.
because they Patriots twice and then I don't know who else they play.
And then the Broncos, I mean, they're looking really good. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? Stop with this rookie quarterback nonsense. Maybe they are scaring the playoffs, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Defense is playing well.
yeah, and so was their offense. And
Yeah.
Sean Payton's coaching well. And then the Chargers, like,
Yeah.
even though I don't believe in them, you don't want to count them out. And same with the Texans. So we have so much fun looking at these playoff pictures. And just 3 weeks left. We're going to start having to record on Mondays. So the Monday night games will be added into the week after just because of the holidays and our schedules. But we will still be doing this podcast, and hopefully this video is able to stay up.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys next week.